Governor, as you look back over your 2 terms in office, can you tell us what talents and qualities you were able to draw on to be an effective governor?
You know, that's a hard question to answer. I guess one of the strong points, if you will, for leadership, I think, in anything, is the ability to find good people and then have trust in them. You set the policy. It's your responsibility to be the one who sets the overall policy and goals, and then you want good people who will tell you you're crazy or you're not crazy, and then you say, okay, get it done, and this is how we want to get it done. And one of the advantages of the way the governorship is structured in this state is that the governor really does have their own team. You don't have an elected attorney general who may be running for your office in another couple of years. You don't have an elected state treasurer who may not be on your side. They're all your team. And so it makes it a very powerful position. It also lets the public know who to blame. I mean, sure, you've got to work with the legislature, you've got to work with the Supreme Court, but you've got to have some real explaining to do if you can't get done what you want to have done.
Well, certainly you were a role model as governor of New Jersey, the first woman and the only woman.
Unfortunately.
That's been governor.
That doesn't speak to the record, but...
But looking back, you appointed women in your administration to key roles in your cabinet, and of course the Chief Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court, Deborah Porras. A lot of firsts. How important was that, do you think?
Oh, being more representative of the makeup of the state of New Jersey was very important to me. Getting minorities in as well as women. And it wasn't just women. What was interesting is that every time there was a position that opened up, I'd ask for a range of names, and and the first draft was almost inevitably all white men. And I'd go back, and this was particularly during transition. After that, everybody got the point. I said, no, go back and look again and give me a broader range. I may have taken someone from that first list. Didn't mean I didn't or disqualified them, but I wanted a broader set of choices, and I was able to find extremely talented, extremely qualified women and minorities as well as white men. And that, I thought, was important to send a message to the state that this is about everyone, and the governor is the governor of everybody.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced?
Obviously the budget. When I first came in, we had, the economy was not doing well. We'd lost some 350,000 jobs in the previous 4 years. We had a deficit. We were lagging behind the rest of the states in the area as far as economic growth and job development and unemployment. And the most important job, as far as I saw it, was to get people back on their feet, make this a state that was attractive to business. And I'm very proud and happy that by the end of it, over 450,000 private sector jobs had been created. And you had people who, our unemployment numbers were down below. We left with a surplus of, the biggest surplus actually the state had at that point, $1 billion, and no structural deficit.
How did you lay out those priorities and try to achieve them to the best of your ability?
Well, during the campaign, we had blueprints for everything. Not that anybody ever read them, but it meant you did thinking and you did structuring. And when I was picking the cabinet, one of the things I'd do was go through what we had outlined and what I had outlined as being major problems and ways to approach them, and tried to find people who would either look me in the eye and say, no, this is absolutely the wrong way to do it, or would say, yes, and here's how we're going to do it. Or even the ones that said it's absolutely the wrong way to do it, say, okay, fine, how do we this is a problem though, how do we solve it?
What was it like for you transitioning out of office as governor and into the Bush administration as head of the EPA?
Well, it's probably easier for me than it was for a lot of people because I'd had a cabinet and I knew what a cabinet was meant to do and not meant to do. So I recognized that I did not set the policy. The president and I were pretty close to being on the same page. It was other members of the administration who weren't quite so committed to the environment.
How do you view your legacy as governor of New Jersey?
People ask me all the time, well, what was the best, the most important thing you did? And I don't know. Was it reducing taxes 40 times? Was it getting the state back on its feet? Was it welfare reform? Was it setting standards, putting in 6 basic standards for education? Was it starting the plan to preserve 1 million acres of open space? They're all important. And that's, again, the beauty of being a governor. It's no one subject area on which you concentrate. It's everything, and you've got to deliver for everybody, and it makes it a constant challenge and a great learning experience because you're always learning.
Governor Whitman, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.